An anthropomorphic cat alien stepped quietly into an observation room on the outer edge of a space station, which overlooked one of the ship docks there, and stopped near the gigantic observation window that made up one wall of the room. Just beyond it was a plethora of ships, shuttles, and other space vehicles that were either parked or flitted about lightly in the empty void of space. In the lounge itself was a cadre of people who sat in a variety of chairs, couches, and loungers that faced the window. The cat soon raised his arms and spread his paws, causing the lights on one of the ships in front of him to turn on. However, nobody took notice of this, as they were each too engrossed in their own personal activities. The cat then drew one hand back, while pushing the other forward. Immediately the ship, as though controlled by the cat's every movement, turned ever so slightly in its berth. The cat then equaled out his hands and drew them back before gently pushing them forward. Moments later the ship began to slowly back out of its dock. It was at this moment that some of those within the room started to take notice of this. Slowly, one by one, they each sat up and watched this strange ballet of feline movements that the ship in front of them was now mimicking in its own way. The ship then continued to back up for several moments, as if by magic, before turning as the cat, in perfect lockstep synchronization, like partners in a great ballroom dance, moved his paws as though he were magically and yet carefully steering the ship. As this continued, still more people in the lounge took notice of this until everyone's eyes became fixed on him. The cat soon drew his right paw back and then gently shoved it forward, as though giving the ship a gentle push, causing it to turn to the left as it continued to back out of its dock. However, it was at this moment that a shuttle, seemingly out of nowhere, appeared not far from the ship and barreled towards it as though on a terminal collision course that could not be avoided. But, without missing a beat, the cat threw his right arm to the side and, with several quick, precise gestures, directed the shuttle to change course, allowing it to safely maneuver around the larger ship. The cat then returned to his prior work and, with a gentle motion of his left hand, sent the starship on its way. Moments later, a fleet of drones appeared around the end of the dock and barreled towards the window of the lounge, as though hell-bent on crashing into the station. But with a few careful hand gestures, the cat brought the drones to a stop. He then turned them and made each one dock perfectly into their respective storage pods along the side of the dock. The people in the lounge that were watching this were astounded at all of the seeming miracles that the cat-like alien was doing. A few moments later, with similar hand movements as before, he pushed the ship in the neighboring bay out of its dock. Once clear, he turned it into its departure position and sent it on its way into the emptiness of space. Shortly afterwards, another ship appeared just beyond the recently vacated dock. With similar motions as before, he skillfully brought it into position and then safely parked it there. Soon after this, the docking arms extended and connected to the ship, preparing the way for its passengers and the ship's cargo to disembark. As soon as this was completed, the cat relaxed, nodding in approval at a job well done. Shortly after this, one of the guests in the lounge got up from their chair and approached him. "Young man, that was amazing," he said. The cat smiled. "Thank you, sir. You're welcome. However, can I ask you a small question?" asked the man. "Sure. What is it?" replied the cat. "Well, I saw how you manipulated those ships so expertly and with such skill, finesse, and power. So I was wondering, do you have like telekinetic powers or magic or something of that nature?" asked the man. The cat grinned and shook his head. "I don't actually have any special abilities," he replied. The man looked at him in confusion. "You don't? Then how did you do all of those things you just did?" The cat grinned at this and then replied, "I'm just really good at traffic control."